Generally, there are four types of modules in IELTS listening test. First one is day-to-day English conversation, and second one is about monologue, that is, talking about specific topic by one person, and third one is about conversation that might be of more than two people, and lastly, there is a monologue on academic setting. You should be also, able to recognize various paraphrases having similar meaning but different words. There might be various types of accent which might appear in your IELTS listening test, like New Zealand, Australian, American, British, but among them, the British accent are primarily used and they are recurrent in most of the cases. So you must, focus in all of the aspects in IELTS listening test. And another section I wanna, you know, remember you once again is just you must get familiarized and habitual with most of the letters, like numbers that might be pronounced in British or any other accent, so that you could not, get distracted about certain topics and listening sections. And various expressions and idioms are also used in IELTS listening test, and among them, British is one of the most crucial aspect while listening in IELTS listening test, because it is common, but you should be prepared to get habitual in various different accent as well. And there might be some disturbing, or let's say confusing types of words. Some speakers might keep their opinion towards you, because IELTS is not just about fact, and you should not just recognize their certain talking and their speech, because their opinion differs from the fact. So you must listen for fact, because your answer is gonna be in certain aspect which is relatable to the fact. So just follow the instructions very carefully. You just have to get habitual with that. And another thing I want to let you know is, oral text always follow the order. That means whenever the speaker is, pronouncing or talking about anything, like having any conversation, your answer will always appear in order. You just don't get puzzled and confused in such situations. So I am letting you know so that you won't be in dilemma anymore. First of all, you must assess the question types. You must read and go through all the questions first, because it would definitely help you to identify the answers and make the most of your time. And then only you should prepare, and whenever you prepare for what you may hear, you can definitely know about what type of answer it might appear in your IELTS test, so that you could get mentally prepared for that. And another thing is, never lose your focus on anything, like external environment in your IELTS listening test, because it's all about your focus concentration. Once you sleep in one question, then you might get worried, so that you would definitely get puzzled in another section. So just focus on exactly what you hear and use the process of elimination. And due to that elimination procedure, your answer probability of getting correct might be higher than you expected. So just you must just not focus on your hearing test, but also you should practice eliminating the unwanted answers like in MCQ. And another thing is, draft out your initial answers. That means whenever there are like or and the, you should always recognize what might appear next to that, you know or and the, like singular noun or plural noun. You can easily predict what comes first, and specific answers might appear while you see the in front of the answer. And that also helps in predicting and whenever you are confused, you can sort it out and eliminate the unwanted stuff so that your answer's probability of getting correct might be higher. So you can use a test practice method to work with them, and whenever you work out, and the process of elimination method would definitely help you out. And the last thing that I want to let you know is, complete all the questions, because the most crucial and important factor that will, increase or decrease your marks is just answering the all questions, because there is no any negative marking in IELTS listening test, so you don't have to get worried sick about that factor. Just predict and answer any type of questions whichever is appearing in your listening test, because that won't affect your marks, and when it don't affect your marks, your probability definitely is gonna boost and your marks gonna boost definitely. So don't leave any questions, make sure to fill all the answers when you finish your IELTS listening test. You should always read first whenever you try to attempt any type of questions, because whenever you read primarily, then you might easily predict the answers, and when you predict upcoming answers, then your probability definitely increases. And IELTS is all about reading and listening simultaneously. So focus the questions whatever might appear in IELTS listening test, and never ever leave any questions at the end, which I have already mentioned, because whenever you leave the questions, your marks and confidence would definitely get slipped off, and due to that reason you might get panicked, and you might also get worried about next sections like reading and writing sections. So don't leave any types of questions, and just try to figure out what might be the answers by just predicting the questions like oh and the, and whatever plural noun or anything stuff like appear in your answer section, then you can easily predict that as well. So for that you must practice your shorthand too, and always check the spelling, because most of the people make mistake while o- even though their answer might be correct, but due to the spelling, the whole word might be just get wrong. So due to that reason, always check your spelling too, and for that purpose you should not write too quickly by getting worried about any type of listening test. Always remember that as listening test is none other than just English day-to-day conversation. Like there are not anything or stuff that you must remember. It's all about your ability to listen in foreign languages and read, or for any academic setting you must appear in foreign languages and countries. So don't get panic and don't leave any questions empty. You can relate your situation and answers by just giving the example at the beginning of the first section. Like you can familiarize yourself with the sound, situation and the speakers, and simultaneously you can also observe the topic of each and every section, so that you can get some hint or idea about that gist point in your IELTS listening test, and you can predict the answers accordingly. And another thing I want to let you know is always just keep listening until the recording stops, because don't just quickly attempt to finish your answers, because that might not be true. So you must focus on what you are writing in your IELTS listening test, because your all effort and practice is shown in your just test. So just concentrate and don't get panicked, and just write your answers quickly. because that might distract you and your confidence in upcoming sections as well. So just there might be always confusing and puzzling type of questions which might be given to you so that you could recognize it accordingly. So just don't write your answers quickly, only write it after understanding it properly and after the recording stops. And there are always often pauses, so prepare for that as well. And answer is always in order form, so you just don't have to get worried. There are also certain types of things that you should remember in your IELTS listening test, like first of all, you should underline the questions that might help you out in upcoming sections to navigate and so that you could look for your correct answers. And IELTS listening test as well as various other sections is all about time management and how you utilize your time while you are listening and reading simultaneously. So always read through all the questions before the recording starts so that you could manage the time properly. So you can practice in your home, and whenever you got leisure time you can practice it well so that your time management skill gets improved. And you should always be focusing on various answers rather than trying to listening to all the questions that the speaker is telling you. So just try to listen for your specific answers because you might get in dilemma by listening all the unwanted stops. And whenever you write your answers while listening, you need to just multitask. You should not just listen, but also you should write at the same time. So listening and writing at the same time, like multitasking, you know can be improved by your multiple effort and practice in your leisure time. And another thing is you should always notice how many words you have for each answer on your answer sheet, because whenever you don't have word count, then your answers might get wrong and it is also marked wrong. So always also focus on your word count. And it is always recommended that you should use in capital letters, because whenever you use capital letters for your all answers, so that you won't get puzzled. And whenever you write small letters in one trade, stops like in middle, like in proper noun, your answers might get distracted and marked wrong. So it is recommended to use capital letters. And always remember for paraphrasing, that means having same meaning but different words. You should always look for synonyms too. And by always reading the instructions properly, you should use abbreviations according to the IELTS guidelines as well. And so that there might always confusing words like 90 and 19 might you know appear similar in your IELTS listening test, so you should always focus on that too. And be aware of different ways of expressing time, like half past means like any time after 30 minutes, and you should always practice for that too.